Modern breeding has turned rice, wheat, and corn into the rock stars of agriculture, dressed up with extra genes, fine-tuned traits, and the kind of productivity that makes farmers feel like they've been handed superpowers. Once upon a time, these grains were respectable but modest, content with feeding local communities at a slower pace. Then along came the Green Revolution, and suddenly plant breeders were like talent agents saying, "Okay, rice, we're going to give you shorter stalks so you don't flop over in the wind. Wheat, we'll pump up your resistance to disease. Corn, you're already flashy, but let's make you even more prolific." What followed was nothing less than an agricultural glow-up, with yields skyrocketing and global hunger taking a serious step back. These weren't just crops anymore. They were upgraded, fine-tuned machines of nourishment. Hybrid corn might be the funniest character in this lineup because it's basically agriculture's overachiever. Farmers plant it, and instead of acting shy, it goes all out, producing ears so plump and uniform you'd think they were auditioning for a beauty pageant. The trick is in its hybrid vigor, a kind of plant superpower that makes it grow faster, stronger, and more productive than either of its parents. It's as if corn went to the gym, hired a personal trainer, and came back ready to feed the world while also making popcorn for Friday night. Wheat, not wanting to be left behind, got its own genetic spa treatment. Modern strains were bred to resist pests and diseases, shrugging off threats like a hero in a cape. Now wheat doesn't just survive, it thrives, giving us mountains of flour for bread, pasta, and pastries that seem to multiply endlessly in bakeries everywhere. Rice, meanwhile, pulled off a transformation that was both elegant and practical. Shorter stalks, higher yields, and varieties that can withstand flooding or drought turned rice from a fragile diva into a dependable powerhouse, capable of feeding billions while still pairing beautifully with curry, sushi, or stir-fry. The comic side of all this is how much these cereals now resemble celebrities with multiple alter egos. Wheat has varieties for every occasion, one for fluffy breads, another for chewy noodles, and yet another for delicate cakes, as if it's saying, "Darling, I can be whatever you want me to be." Corn, meanwhile, refuses to be limited to just food. It moonlights as animal feed, biofuel, and even industrial products, proving it's the multitasker of the group. Rice might look simple at first glance, but with thousands of varieties, it's the undercover fashionista, showing up as aromatic basmati, sticky sushi rice, or hearty brown rice depending on the party. If the grains were in a talent competition, they'd all win different categories: rice for versatility, wheat for reliability, and corn for sheer flair. What's especially positive about modern breeding is the way it has turned food from a fragile gamble into something more secure and abundant. Before, a bad season could spell disaster for millions. Now, with hybrids and improved strains, these cereals bounce back faster, resist more challenges, and deliver enough grain to keep entire continents fed. They've become the sturdy pillars of global food security, and yet they do it while still making meals comforting, delicious, and diverse. It's a rare combination: practicality and joy, science and flavor, all bundled up in kernels and grains. Of course, there's a humorous twist too. The more humans tinker with these cereals, the more they seem to outsmart us. Hybrid corn won't reproduce true to type, which means farmers have to buy fresh seeds each season, almost like corn saying, "I'll give you my best performance, but only if you book me again next year." Wheat and rice sometimes develop new strains of pests that force breeders to keep innovating, as if the plants and their enemies are locked in a never-ending game of chess. But rather than discouraging, this ongoing cycle shows the resilience of both human ingenuity and nature's creativity. The grains keep evolving, and so do we, creating a dynamic partnership that has turned farming into a global success story. When you look at the big picture, modern breeding and hybrids are less about changing plants and more about upgrading humanity's relationship with food. Rice, wheat, and corn have gone from simple wild grasses to high-yield marvels that feed billions, and they've done it with a flair that makes the whole story feel almost comedic. The Green Revolution may have been a serious milestone, but the everyday result is simple: more meals, more bread, more tortillas, more popcorn, and more reasons for people around the world to sit down together at the table. In that sense, modern breeding hasn't just boosted productivity, it's given the world more opportunities to laugh, share, and live well over bowls, loaves, and kernels that never seem to run out.